2014 board meeting for the Village of Indian Head Park. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Mayor Andrews.
Present.
Trustee Schnoffer.
Here.
Trustee Walsh.
Here.
Trustee Bailey.
Here.
Trustee Hinshaw.
Present.
Trustee Olafus. Here. Trustee Wittenberg.
Here.
We have a quorum, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you, and I'd like to welcome Executive Director Susan Friend from C-Spire. Will give us a presentation in a little bit. Susan, thanks for coming out tonight. Please rise and we'll pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The first item is the mayor's report, and it's just a couple of things. First of all, on behalf of the village, I would like to extend our thanks, Rich, to you and your law firm. They made a Christmas, as is their habit over the years, on our behalf of $250 to the, this year to Make-A-Wish Foundation, which is a nice entity, and hopefully they brought some joy to some person or people for the holidays. But thank you very much for thinking of us in that way. Next thing, Ed, I want to commend you and the Public Works employees for the good job keeping up with the snow removal. I know it was probably pretty trying, and we appreciate that you're there for us when we need you and all the hours that you guys put in. So thanks.
Thank you very much,
Good job.
Mr. Mayor.
We could find a way to focus the sunshine during the day and melt all the snow.
Yeah, it'd
We
be helpful.
appreciate that too. Okay, and the last thing that I want to mention in the mayor's report, kind of good news, bad news. I'll give you the bad news. The bad news is that Frank, as of this past Monday, tendered his letter of retirement as our village administrator and police chief. It'll be effective as of the 14th of February.
Yes.
We'll work on the 14th, though.
I don't know.
We'll see how it goes, okay. That's the bad news. The good news is that Frank is moving along, and he's gonna spend more time with his family and his daughter and grandchildren out in Oregon. And I told him he can't leave unless he takes the village cell phone with him, because we'll call him when we need him. We'll try not to wear it out, but anyway, nothing is forever, Frank, right? Time to move on, so we appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, at this time, we'll move along, and I would like to introduce and welcome warmly Susan Friend from C-Spire as the Executive Director. Susan, thank you for coming out tonight. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. It's been a little while since I've had a chance to visit the village and give a state of C-Spire and what's going on at C-Spire report, so thank you for the opportunity to come and talk with you a little bit. C-Spire is an extension of the services here with the village, and our sole purpose is to provide recreation services for people with disabilities in our living communities that we serve. And you have been one of our longest members. We started with 5 agencies back in 1976, but lo and behold, within 2 years, the Village of Indian Head Park had joined on with C-Spire, so it's been a 36-year cooperative venture that you have been on a journey with us to help serve your residents with disabilities. We link services with LADSI whenever we can, particularly during the summer school time. Get the kids out of summer school and get them into a day camp setting so they have a chance to have fun and enjoy a typical summer of what kids without disabilities would be doing, and not just making up time in summer school. So that's one of the areas where we've really worked on relationships and developed them over the years. In our Cook County area, we serve 11 communities, of which there are 5 in Cook County and 6 in DuPage County. So we have an east-west kind of orientation for our geographic area. And we've had an opportunity to grow and develop a lot over the last few years. In particular, since I met with you last, we worked on a strategic plan where we had focus groups with residents, people from, for example, LADSI, Helping Hand, and organizations that serve people with disabilities. Talked with them, we sent information and questionnaires out to our residents to find out what they wanted, those who typically take advantage of our type of service. The good news was we didn't have to reinvent anything. The real challenge was continuing to grow and evolve to meet the needs as people's needs change, and the need for our services continues to grow because you've probably read whether Time Magazine or the Tribune or anything on TV, the incidence of autism continues to grow and evolve. And people with disabilities are out in the community and a big part of our social world. At one time, they really weren't. And so CSPAR and special ed co-ops have all been a part of helping those folks find their place and feel comfortable, and also helping the rest of the community better understand their needs and making everyone a part of one greater community. So part of our strategic plan has been to continue to develop social programs that help get people out and involved in the community and feeling definitely a part of that community. It's been more a matter of developing more methods as we've grown rather rapidly over the last several years to kind of, we've got the services up and going, but getting everything else to follow along with it, get all we have the infrastructure, but getting all the, dotting the i's and crossing the t's as we moved along to grow the programs, to get everyone all up to speed and working laterally a little bit more than what the depth. So those are some of the things we're working on. Electronic communication was a big thing to work on to communicate to your residents, and what used to be our old trustee and commissioner newsletter that was on paper is now electronic. Hopefully it's a little bit more exciting to look at with bright color and something that you can refer to and also share with anyone that you'd like to anywhere along the way. We have a general electronic newsletter for our residents as well, and we also now have online registration available for our folks. So we're trying to get with the 90s in that case, but we're catching up pretty quickly. Our programs, that's what we're all about, programs and services. Special Olympics is one that I know some of your residents are particularly involved with, as well as across our district, and it's one that I think a lot of people can identify with Special Olympics because it's an international type of organization. But we've trained athletes in 18 different sports. Coming up this next weekend, hopefully the rain doesn't really get to going too much, because our winter sports athletes are going to be going up into Wisconsin for a winter sports retreat. Training for winter sports around here is very tricky. That flag and I can't see you very well, and you maybe don't, if you don't see me or not. But anyway, winter sports are really difficult. About the time you get some snow down, the winter sports competition time is over. And so our Special Olympics athletic director decided, let's just take them up there where the snow is generally made, and we can just go and really concentrate on it, rather than doing a couple hours here and a couple hours there. So that's an improvement we made in that program, and families have found that to be super, as well as you get a chance to let some of our downhill skiers try snowshoeing versus trying cross-country skiing and do a little cross-training. Maybe you want to try something new. Not always, but once in a while you can at least offer that as a possibility. So that's one area where we've enhanced it. And Paralympic sports is an area where in the last 2 years we've grown quite a bit. Coming up in, let's say March, no, it's February this year, in LaGrange on February 22nd, Washington's birthday. From 9 to 2 up at the Park District of LaGrange on East Avenue, there will be a Basha Metro Cup event. It's a tournament for individuals who use wheelchairs to play. It's like bocce ball, only all the athletes work out in a seated position, whether they use a wheelchair or if they are ambulatory, they will be seated. The balls are not, they're more of a hacky sack type of ball, but they do roll. And either the individual rolls it, or they throw it, or they may have an apparatus on their head to push it off a ramp to go down. And so they may have aid, but the aid can't be looking at where the balls are. They have to be directed by the athlete. So that's an event that we sponsor each year, and it's an amazing, amazing thing. We also have a sled hockey program out of the Darien Sportsplex, where we have the good fortune to have ice time, which not everybody can access ice time. And we have a good partnership with Darien there, that they free up space every Sunday afternoon for our kids to get a chance to play sled hockey, as well as goalball for the visually impaired. It's another Special Olympic or adaptive sport that we're into, the Paralympic sport as well. Summertime, as I mentioned, day camp, that's prime time for us. General programs, sporting events and so forth, and trips around the whole Chicago area are a big deal. We also sponsor a vacation trip coming up this year. We'll be going to Washington, D.C. with a group of travelers, as well as some weekend trips around the Midwest as well. Our big culminating event each year is our Believe and Achieve banquet, which is in May, this year the 15th. That's where we recognize every single participant who's been involved in the program, and recognize the achievements they have, as well as recognizing our athlete of the year and some of those individuals who have really, they've shown. They have just absolutely been stellar, whether in one of our programs or maybe they've been very successful in life. Like one of the young ladies who's involved in our rhythmic gymnastics program, which is just up at Flying High. She now works there and helps with younger kids program. But she also has developed and become a global messenger for Special Olympics, but the confidence that she's developed through competing and being coached through our programs and then going on beyond that, it's just been amazing. That's, at that particular event, the Believe and Achieve Banquet, we recognized folks who really taken a step forward. Someone who was very shy and wouldn't get in front of anybody now will give a speech in front of a couple hundred people or help teach a class for younger kids. So we find those kind of things something that really needs to be recognized, and so that's why we do that. We also have had a nice opportunity for recognition. One of the events that we sponsor with the St. Francis Xavier Church School out of LaGrange is a Ability Awareness Day for their sixth grade. It's part of the regular curriculum, and we were recognized by the Illinois Park and Recreation Association as an outstanding program last year for helping those kids be better informed about people with disabilities and their needs, and they also perform service for CSPAR as well. So it's definitely a good hand-in-glove type of situation for them and for us. Big opportunity now. The Lyle Park District has extended some additional space. They have a couple thousand square feet that we're in the process of building out. And one of our banner programs is our Eagles program, which is enhancing adult growth through lifestyle, education, and service. You probably get tired of hearing about it a little bit, but that's okay because it's growing and we need to tell you about it. The particular program is for individuals who are out of school. Special ed stops on their 22nd birthday. The school bus does not come to your house anymore, and your life has changed. And this is the program where we pick up where the schools have left off, so that those folks who have gone to school for the time they were 3 through 22. What do you do next? You may be unemployed or you may be underemployed. And so we have the opportunity for people to come to us 2 days a week, 3 days a week, or 5 days a week to continue to be out socially, being fit and active, pursuing new opportunities, and keeping job skills up, so hopefully they will be able to find some jobs and be better employed than they might be at the time. So the Eagles started with it in Darien, and we started with a handful of participants on a few days a week. Soon we were filled all 5 days a week and had our limit of 12. We extended our limit to 15, and then we extended our limit to 17 every day. And then we developed a site now in Darien, and it's now full 5 days a week. And so the Lyle site will give us a chance to develop, so we have basically East, Central, and West coming together. And we also, as part of the Lyle project, will have a sensory room, which is designed typically for people with autism, younger kids, all ages certainly can benefit from it. And also, we're finding folks with dementia also experience good results from a sensory room, which we can control all the visuals, all the auditory, and from bubble columns, and you'll have to come out and see it to believe it. But projection systems that you can project onto the floor, and a person waves their hand or their foot, and whatever's on that moves as if you were actually stepping in a puddle. The water would ripple because projection of water. But these are the types of things that kids who are understimulated or overstimulated relate well to. It improves behaviors, and it's also an opportunity where they are able to interact in an environment where they are comfortable. And many times, typical settings, whether at school, or in a park, or in a rec center, or in a room like this, there's just way too much stimulation going on. And this is a situation where we can let them make some choices and really have an opportunity. It's a good setting for them. So we're really excited to get that up and going. We're one of the only special recreation associations to have that type of opportunity. And so that will be coming along. We should have it up and running by the 1st of June. And
That in the new space?
the new space, we'll be having some dedication.
Can you just elaborate a little bit about the new space
There's
and how we
2,000
came to it?
Just by luck. Sometimes the right place at the right time. Woodridge Park District was considering the possibility of a new building, which they're still in the process of getting up and going. And we're not sure if we wanted to get involved with it or not, look at whether would there be cost and how would we work with it. And it was about 900 square feet, 800 or 900 square feet. And so basically we said, does any other member have anything else that's going to be coming along in the next 5 to 10 years? Is this our only option to grow? And we're needing space because there's just not enough space for everybody to go around. And so the Lyle Park District said, you know what, we have a couple thousand square feet that, you know what, we aren't using right now, and probably for the next maybe 5, 10 years we wouldn't need, and maybe 15. And then before we were done, they decided that since we were going to help with the build-out financially, that we could have it for the next 30 years. So, and that's free of charge operationally. We're paying for the build out or up to a limit on the build out, and beyond that, they'll cover the rest of it. They've handled all the architectural fees. Their crews have done most of the demo work. We just had our pre-construction meeting on Wednesday morning, and two more permits from a couple of the subcontractors, and we're gonna be ready to roll.
See the space when it's
It's
finished.
gonna be terrific space. We'll be able to have a computer lab there, music classes there, Eagles meet there, a day camp to meet there, which is terrific because it opens out onto a park that also has a water park in it, so no busing to the pool. Lots of great opportunities, a lot of outdoor space, which will be just super. So, great opportunity for us and wonderful hosts over there, so we're excited with the possibilities.
Sounds good.
That's pretty good. Now, I know Mayor Andrews had shared some information too, financially. CSPAR is in a good position. Our member contributions, I want to point out, typically a Special Recreation Association's member contributions make up about 70% of the total budget. And we've been able over the last few years to whittle that down to 63 to 64%. Part of that has been because program registration revenue has gone up considerably. That's the largest change or difference. The other difference is we're working on developing funds through our fundraisers and other activities that our fund development coordinator works with. So that's some of the things, some of what we've worked with. Our rate has generally stayed pretty consistent. In fact, the aggregate contributions, like your contribution and all the other 10 members, that number has stayed within a few $1,000s, within $10,000 over the last 5 years, and we're projecting to keep it about that same amount for the next 2 or 3. Looks as though we can do that. We thought if we did it for 3 years, it was a good trick, but then we just kind of keep taking a little further down the road, and so far it's working, so we're pleased with that. Your contribution for 14-15, the $24,192, is the lowest it's been since 2008. So we're trying to be good stewards for you and for your taxpayers. Participation last year, as you're aware, we took a dip, but I'm looking at the information as it's coming along. We've had a lot more participation this year. We have a few new folks who are trying programs and are becoming active. So not only individual participants are increasing, but these folks are choosing multiple programs, so total participation and the service hours is showing a nice rebound. And so we're really pleased with that because last year was just very atypical. We had a few folks who've been very active. One was not able to be active, another one had some family circumstance change that definitely had an impact. And then we also work with Briar Place because obviously we have a lot of residents there who have a variety of different types of needs, and we're able to help out and support the programs and services there. So with some changes there, we weren't able to do as much as we had for the last several years. So that seems to have turned around nicely. And
That was kind of the cause of some of the drop down in participation, and then now they've got new staff and it's coming
you have
back.
to have, when you're trying to work together, both groups have to be participating. And yeah, there was a lot of turnover, and we might have events planned, and then they wouldn't be ready to go, and just things happen sometimes with facilities. And so that's come along really nicely, as well as individual residents who are now active. So in looking at what we've had during this current fiscal year, things look to be bouncing right back. So that's looked at some actual factual numbers, and they were looking good. Overall, resident participation over the last 9 years has increased 51%. So we've had some good growth there, and I can let the rest of you know that Mayor Andrews he gets to the board meetings, he's reviewed the packet, he calls in the questions beforehand or asks questions at the meetings. He's a very active member of our board, and so you're definitely being represented well. And Dave on the financial end is always making sure that we get the money when we're supposed to, or confirming what the EAV is that has come out from the county. So it's been a good cooperative venture over the last 36 years, and we appreciate your support. So be happy to answer questions you might have at this point.
Could you do me a favor and share, and I know what this is, but if you could share with the rest of the folks your analogy about what the average household cost is for
Absolutely.
our member contribution?
Absolutely, and this has been a figure that has been pretty static for more than 30 years that I'm aware of, but I tested it again recently. When someone says, how much does a typical homeowner contribute towards CSPAR? And it depends, some member districts, it's going to be a little different than others, certainly, but on average, the typical household contributes the cost of a medium pizza. That's the analogy. So you think about what you can get somewhere around 17, 18 bucks for your medium pizza delivered. That's what the individual homeowner would contribute for the seaside.
If you have a bigger house, it's just a bigger
Bigger
pizza.
pizza.
And if it's a
You're-
smaller house, it's a smaller
You're
pizza.
getting a few more ingredients.
One pizza a year.
I think when I did the whole analogy from the community in C-Spar with the lowest EAV to the one with the highest, there was no one was more than $30 and no one was less than 12 or 13. So it kind of averaged around 18.
Trustee Hinshaw.
Susan, thank you very much for the services you provide for you and your staff. I know they're greatly appreciated. As executive director, tell me the benefits of a strategic plan and how that helps you.
Strategic plans are strange animals.
I don't, Susan, I don't know that we asked you to come here to talk about those.
Well, that's fine.
You want to?
I'm good with that.
Okay.
I'll
I'm trying
take a
to
swing
get
at
out.
it. Well, I think over a period of time, we've done a lot of growing and going, and that's something that I know I was charged with when I became executive director 7 years ago. But the question was, you're gonna be a custodian or you're gonna be a leader? And I said, well, you don't need a custodian, you need a leader, and that's what I want to be. I think the thing is, we want to take stock of who we were and what we were doing, if we were doing it right in view of what the residents wanted and what our board members wanted. And then the plan basically gave us a way to map out and commit to making certain improvements and changes and developing some systems that were gonna make us better in the long run. And so it's an accountability thing, whether internal or external.
Thank you.
It kind of charts us out. Sometimes plans sit on a desk. We've been going through and we've been clipping them off. Some are easier than others, and it's coming along. After 3 or 4 years, if you haven't gotten it done, it may not be relevant anymore, or it was the wrong direction to go to begin with. But it is given some direction, and some of our younger staff we're a part of the whole organization we have some of us who have been there quite a while, and some folks who are 3, 4, 5 years. It's given them a chance to really dig in and take stock of who we are, what we do, how we do it, why we do it, and better understand why we may have done some things certain ways, but then they're also given a chance to take some stock in the organization and seeing how they want to move forward too. So it's a cooperative venture on the whole crew's part. Welcome.
Just had a short question.
Go ahead.
I heard some discussion of, you said the word vocational, some vocational pursuits. Are you doing any integration with what was formerly Niche, but now Source America with vocational
We have
placement?
not.
Okay.
We have not. We do more of the general skills and so forth. Yeah, we're purely recreational, but so much recreation is so educational on a very functional level for all of us. Really, but go with that far into vocational, we sure do independent living skills and that type of thing.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Anybody else, trustees? No? Thank you for coming out tonight.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
acoustics are terrible in here. The acoustics are terrible in here.
couldn't hear you because of bad acoustics, no.
You know, can't you do something about that? I mean, if you have a full body of people in this chamber, you cannot hear.
Is it, I don't talk loud enough, or is it just in
I
general?
don't think, no matter how loud you talk, it's going to project all the way to the population here.
We'll
My hearing
look
isn't
into
the
it.
best.
We'll have to look
That's
into it.
why I said up front, so I would openly admit that. But if you want to communicate with people, they at least need to hear you. And anybody that stands up and talks should be given a microphone so that they can express themselves and be heard. People who come in here to be heard need the courtesy of being heard. And this is not a good chamber for that kind of a venue. I don't know, nobody else has ever said that before? I'm the first one to say it?
No, it's come up.
Okay, I don't want to feel like a stranger.
No.
No,
It's
I'm
come up
serious.
once or twice before.
We have these microphone ports up here, but the microphones are not around or something.
Oh, they are.
Or they don't work or whatever.
You know,
Okay, so you have the infrastructure, it wouldn't seem like much money to put in and each board member needs to be heard as they speak. And I've come to meetings here and I can't hear them, I come to hear, so I want to feel part of the group. And I feel if I can't hear, then I can't participate. Just a point of order.
Okay, thank you. Noted. Your comment about the microphone reminded me, I forgot to announce that an official videotape of this meeting is being made by the Village of Indian Head Park, and to advise everyone that video and/or audio taping by others may also be taking place at this time. Next item of business is the approval of a financial report for the month ending November 30th, 2013. Treasurer Busa.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As you just mentioned, I have the financial report for the month of November 2013. In November, the village revenues were $143,166.78. The expenditures, $507,469.17. At the end of November 2013, the village had combined funds $1,435,980.47. There was a payment on a bond that accounts for a portion of the expenditures. That's why that number is larger than usual. And that's my report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Trustees, questions or comments? Trustee Hinshaw?
Yeah, on, there's a check number 2824 to Ray O'Huron Company.
Could you point what page we're looking at?
It says page 1 of 1 on the bottom. It's Friday, November 1st, check run. It's register 752. I think it's probably the first page in the PDF. Or not the first page, but the first page of the detail. So I'm curious what services Ray O'Huron?
Ray O'Haron?
Yes.
Yeah, that's basically police equipment. They supply police equipment, uniforms, things like that.
I don't see anything. I think the salt we purchase in bulk, but I had several residents ask about the snow and if we're on budget for snow removal, salt, that kind of stuff.
Well, Salton, we're gonna be a little bit off budget because of the weather. We've already had 30-some inches. So we're looking at, hopefully, because now they're talking a shortage. So hopefully we're gonna get another 200 tons, but it's gonna be $75 a ton instead of $50-some a ton.
And how about, are we gonna be over on time or overtime or contractors or anything?
I haven't looked at the overtime yet, just on the salt. So we are gonna be over on the salt.
On the report?
Yeah, on the report, register 752, there's a check 2836 from Christopher Burke for $3,468.25. Last year in 2013, we were provided detail. Are we going to get detail of?
We will, but, yeah, Christopher, not Christopher, but our engineer that works for Christopher Burke happened to be on vacation for a few weeks. That's why I don't have it, but I will have it for next month. He just probably either he forgot to do it or.
Go ahead.
Next page, there's a George's Catering Executive for $439.
That, each town takes their turn. You know, we belong to like MCAT, the South Suburban. So every town once a year or sometimes twice a year, they get hit with the meeting, and each town provides a lunch for all the members.
Thank you. Me again?
Go ahead.
There's Thursday, November 14th, near the bottom, it says page 3, and the bottom it says page 5 of 7. There is a $6,000 payment to Storiano, Mellon, and Durkin. Will we be getting detail for that, something that we've asked for?
We should, right?
Well, that's,
We've already supplied the detail redacted.
No, is that something we can get monthly ongoing, like the Christopher Burke bill that we got? Part of the detail?
yeah, this one. Sure. Okay, we'll start. Thank you.
I think one or two more. Friday, November 22nd, there is a payment for $18,959 to J. Redding Asphalt. What was that for?
Was that, believe that was all the repair work that we had done with the water, with sewer work and things like that throughout the town, and some parts of the streets that need a little bit